Hello, everybody. Welcome, Christian and Greg and Joseph and Marcio Sugar. But we will have more people. So, yes, we have more. Very nice. We also have some chat here, but that's a robot. It's okay. It's good to have robots around. That's what we're talking about all the time. So I will say hello from Houston. Okay. And I will give you a chance to do the same. You can also say hello from whatever. Dominic Dula, Steve. Okay, great. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you very much. Oh, Santiago, Chile. And thank you very much for your advice. So I got the mic. You should hear me much better than it used to be. And you even see that mic. Once in a while it's not showing, but today it's showing big. Okay, so let's start. So I see the nice chat here, and the chat really goes very lively. That's what we found out yesterday. Oh, last time. So I hope we will do the same. I am sharing the screen here. And what you really need is this one. So I'm giving you that link. That is the link to whatever we do. I'm giving it to you on chat here. Okay, right near Houston Woodlands. Okay, that's the link. So if you click on it, then you will show up as an anonymous picture here. And you will also be able to go down and scroll what we're about. Now, what we are about, especially for people who are new, especially for those people, we are about trying every new technology that comes out, specifically how can I build AI applications. By the way, we finally have put out a little advertisement about the course that we're going to teach. We are teaching about, well, exactly how to build them. Now, between ourselves, between us who have been to this webinar, you know that the majority of this course really comes from the webinar. What we have added is, well, it's a guided tour, and we give people virtual machines, we give them the keys. So, in other words, it's a live show. But we'll be talking about this later. It will appear somewhere on the channels. Okay, and another thing that I immediately point out is this. This is what I call the learning path. And if you click here, okay, what you get is a complete learning path. And what's important about it is that it doesn't repeat. Every course is different from every other one. So if you really want to learn and become an expert in building AI apps, and by building AI apps, I mean you include AI in what you do. Of course, you probably ask AI to write your code. That's fine. I tried a codex which didn't work. So what I see is that not everything works. That's what we will be talking about today. But I download, I try to run every one. The couple courses we will be talking about today are those. It's ACP, Agent Communication Protocol, and it's Llama 4 Meta. And I will give you my personal opinion, what I try to do, what work, and maybe somehow also show people other opinions. So my opinion doesn't really matter, but I give you my opinion. Don't hide it. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about, and that's where those found. So every time that this something moving the chat down, this something shows up, it has a few entries. First of all, This is the course name, what it is about. Where it is coming from, IBM, that's the company. BAI is a open source framework. The next one is where you can see that course. So if I click there, I should see the actual course. There you are. Okay. And finally, if I go one step more, it will be the same course, but already on our repository. That's kind of preparing it for cooking, because later on, we'll go down, we'll go there, and the columns on the left, they say we had a few people working on that. There was Neha, there was Mark, there was also Emily, a brilliant intern. She got accepted to, I think, every university. She chose, I think, Harvard. So we got some future famous person working on those labs as well. But back to the two that we're going to talk about right now. It's here, and note this number. That's about 100 courses. So you don't have to know all of them, but it helps if you keep learning. So we come to the first thing that Andrew Ng said. He said that if you ask him 10 years ago, should you or should you not learn coding, he would tell you, no, no, don't do it. It's just too much an interesting detail. Now he says there is no excuse not to learn coding, or it's kind of prepare for yourself for a new life. In that new life, you are going to mostly learn the new things. Okay, and that is my own personal story. So let's stop doing what the French called bavarder. That's just chatting, and let's go to the news. So first of all, we have the new course from Meta about Llama 4. The course is found on that link. Our repository for that is found here. Well, let's go there. But before we go there, there were two events that happened last week. Number one is that they published this course, and they published this course in working together with Andrew Ng, in cooperation with him. So that's a positive. At the same time, the same Andrew Ng was talking about the news in AI world. We'll go there also, and he kind of shot it in the foot by saying that Llama is changing direction. So because of that, the way you look at the course is changing what you're thinking about that. They will be praising the original idea. They are not praising the new idea, because the new idea of meta is super intelligence. Well, that idea only happened, or only floated to the surface maybe 2 days ago with the acquisition and with hiring. And there are articles about how they keep hiring and counter hiring, because there is a big race. That's what's going on. In the AI world, there is a big race, and the smartest win. That breaks all the rules of philosophy, because King Solomon said that the race is not to the fastest, and the riches are not to the smartest. Well, it seems like that changed. Something happened in the nature. But now we can go to the course. Okay, so that's our repo, and we will be taking it with kind of somewhat grain of salt. Yes, but I really need to refresh it, so I was working on that. Let's see. 1 second. I would prefer to show it from over there. So, Llama slides, that's what it is. And if we do that, then we will see it here. Okay, these are the slides. I will only show you the very beginning. So who is going to be the actor in that whole story? It will be a Llama 4 run by Meta and together with deep learning. So what they advertise here is we have a long story. And what was the claim to fame? And I'm waiting to everybody's comments because that's why we're here. The claim to fame was we're one of the rare breed of Mike Arm. Wow, thank you very much. That's a great idea. Sorry to be distracted by that, but I absolutely need. Oh, wow, Mark Arm. Yeah, I would be interested. Let me do this. Let me save it right here. Okay, and I will look at it later. But here we are, back to our repo. Here. Oh boy, sorry about all of that. Here we are. Okay, so their claim to fame at first was we are an open model, so it's very convenient, right? You can download it, you can run it locally, and anytime special security requirement, special government's requirements come up, you think, okay, I'll do it in Llama. Besides, they did it all Llama. Well, Llama allows you to conveniently install it. So that was and still is today the claim to fame that we're open. Now they talk about Llama 4 that gives you the best in class capability. Yes, best in class, but how do you define the class? Because if you yourself say that now we're going to have very smart model, you also say that before we didn't have the smartest model. So what was the class? Class was between open models, for example, we're the best. But if you're not the best in the complete set of models, that is shaky. Okay, so we have multi-modality. It's nice, right? You don't have to work hard on saying, let's switch back to the images. Here's your image. That's what you naturally do in ChatGPT. That is what they show. They also that's the same picture. That's wrong. Something didn't work through. So I'll just complete it on my own, saying that they show you how easy it is, and then they give you the labs, and in these labs they will allow you to run that. But the whole story is that if you're not the smartest model, and if yes, it is local, and all the options, if you cannot in the end be very, very smart, and that seems to be the direction that you yourself are taking today. Well, I'll be waiting for the next version, right? And besides, all of the stories about who buys whom and the investments. So that I'm not going to. So that was a review of Llama 4. So if we look at what do they do next, okay, they of course ask the basic question: are we communicating? Hello, would you say whether the weather is not in French? But then they go into more realistic, what you want to talk about: images and how it can understand image. The next one is prompt format, and how do you politely say it in talking to specific models. The next one is here. That's another claim to fame, that we have up to 1 million tokens or maybe more that you can send us. And that means that you don't have to take books and break them into pieces and send them to us in the reg style models, retrieval augmented generation, piece by piece, but instead you can give us a whole book. Well, that's very nice, but the question is, if you're not that smart, guys, who trusts what you do with that book? Again, sorry I said it. but at least you can send a long context and try what will happen. Or I would say they will continue doing this. That's one thing that's very clear, is that they will work on improvements. All right. And the next one, prompt optimization, is how do I do it better when I'm talking, kind of prompt engineering. And then synthetic data. That's very, very important because of all that's going on in the world, that we run out of data to train on, and so we train on synthetic data. And who gives us the synthetic data? Well, there are companies who do exactly that, who create synthetic data for training. So don't be surprised. You can sit in the corner and just meditate and improve your mental capabilities, so you can do it. But that is really the end. And then Andrew Yang says that developers were underwhelmed by by the model performance. That's a terrible thing. All right, that is the very first step. That is the uh, Llama 4. And now let's go into this, the next step. That I really found more impressive, more interesting, but it has to be accepted. So let's go. Let's check the chat. Okay, that's exactly questions that should be asked. And if you guys answer, right, that will be great. I will be back to your questions, but I'll continue for now. So here is the repo, ACP. What kind of an animal is that? Now, that's again, I'm always amazed by every time there is something new. This time there are two new things, because last time we had a demo of how you write code with the help of AI. So today we cover both the ACP, which is the latest, and the Llama 4, which is the previous one. So here you are, right? And it should be, no, but I'll find it here. Here it is. ACP. Okay, so let's go to the slides. Let's go to the intro. Okay, so what is ACP? ACP is an Agent Communication Protocol, meaning that IBM, their claim to fame, and they definitely need one also, because Watson somehow is not mentioned. As I woke up in the morning, I spoke to Watson. People don't do it, it's not as popular. So another claim to fame is an open source framework that will hopefully be accepted by the community and will allow communications to agents to talk to each other. So you will immediately ask, what is MCP? We saw a similar the thing that MCP, I will remind you here, is talking to the data, and that's bianthropic. ACP is talking agent to agent, and that's an open source framework that IBM suggests. Okay, with that we can continue. So now obvious things, that why is it a good idea that agents would communicate, and why we can build something on that. By the way, I remember that I wanted to be able to also go live on YouTube. Let me try to click on that just as the first example of doing it and see if that works. And you will not see any difference because you are here on the webinar. Now, what happens if I close that? There are no indications not to do it. Okay, so maybe we will also see some thing on YouTube. Okay, so oh, that's Llama, but we're talking about not that either. about that. So you had an HTTP, remember those days when we had a common protocol? At this time, there were other protocols. There's Gopher, there was FTP, and HTTP took over, and that is the default protocol. So that's the same idea. If we give you guys a default protocol for the agents to talk to each other, well, you will be building your systems. Now, why would you need it? Why don't I just create an agent and let them talk to each other? Because if you make a set of plugs where they will talk to each other, well, it will be standard, and then you will still have to create those agents. But communication will go easy. You can take one agent out and put another agent in. That is the major driver bit for that. Now I see hands, but I cannot right now do that. I will leave the hands up, and I will leave the questions for later. Okay, so that's what is good, that you can uh, have a standard way to build a community of agents, and you can easily swap them out and in. Well, that implies that you need to do such a thing. That allows you to have a team work, and that different agents will be in the ideal world taking each one care of its own specialty. For example, like here, you have a research agent, a financial modeling agent, and a visualization agent. Or you can have that in the customer service department, where there will be one person for returns and another one for questions about technical details. Okay, these are the reasons why you might want to do that. Now, practically, that's how you do it. Um, that's how you would have multiple agents, each taking care of his own responsibility. And then finally, you can even have between companies. So each company accepts this ACP. By the way, it is built on DSPY. So if you look at DSPY here on the left, okay, then you will see that DSPY already showed up here, and specifically it was here, DSPY was promoted by Databricks, but really DSPY was an open source framework predating everything, I think, in the world. And here it is. Now we're going back, and we're seeing that we have seen this DSPY, but right now we're looking at the new protocol, which if the community adopts it, and that's what they say about this, that it's a great new idea to each person uses the same protocol, then IBM, who is really the leader. Yes, it is a Linux foundation, and it is an open source. By the way, what we could do, we could look into their repository, but let's leave it for later. All right, that was the second course, and you can go much more in detail with this course. So that is the set of two courses that we looked at. Now I'm coming up for breath and looking at your questions. And ACP, another name for agent to agent protocol, or these are different concepts? That is a great question. I do not think it's the same. No, because this ACP is in the foundation. That's the official name. I cannot believe that they would be the same. I will welcome your research on that, Kevin. Thank you. And I also have a chat coming up here. Can we get X? Oh yes, Chase, you want a AI education summary link. I'm giving you that link. Well, first of all, that is the first link that you need. From there, you can see everything else. So that's the webinar link. Here it is. But once you get that, you go down, you go here, and that is the link that you need. AI education. So I'll open it again, even though I have too many tabs open. And there you are. Okay, now let us look at what comments there were, because your comments really matter a lot. So Lance was asking, what is the old model and what is the new model? Is that a new Llama model, or is it a model in some other context? As far as I understand, Llama 4 is the subject of that course, but Llama 2 doesn't go anywhere. I mean, doesn't go away. It is still there. And in the course itself, they say sometimes you use Llama 2, sometimes Llama 4. Well, don't be surprised at that, because all other providers, they also give you a choice of model. I hope that's what you were asking. Okay. Now, do you think it's important to start at neural networking before diving first into all of that? My personal opinion, that, Dominic, great question. Practical, quick answer, no. Just start with using AI. When I teach my course, the course is about building AI. I apologetically say that let's go to the Museum of Computer Science, and there I will show you all of the learning used in neural network. It's good to understand. You will feel more comfortable. You can do it without it. It's pretty much the same as nowadays. You can just open chat.com and talk, and no supposedly education is required. So that's what I think. But again, the life of continuous learning is in front of you, and what you might do is choose what you want to learn first, but whatever your heart is inclined to. But then again, you will go back and perhaps you will look at how that was all constructed. Okay, you can use agentic with or without neural networking. Yeah, that's the answer. AI is a broad topic, says Lance, and neural networking is a subset. That's a wonderful answer to the same question. Okay, now reframe the question. Do you think having a strong understanding of neural networking would help when it came to using it at its fullest potential? Again, Lance says no. I would also think to say no, but who can say that uh, learning is bad? There is a great mathematician of the previous century. His name is, it's a British mathematician. So, I forgot the name right now, but he has a mathematical miscellany, and his name is Littlewood. So, he says that a PhD candidate came to him, is it necessary to learn specific works before going to the PhD? So Littlewood answered, no, it's not necessary. But being a mathematician, he also continued saying that also nothing is sufficient. There is no guarantee, there is no need to learn it, but there is no guarantee that even if you learn it, things will be good. Okay, that is, you can continue reading in mathematical miscellany. But let's go back, because that at least that is a very exciting subject that we're talking about, and it's not surprising that we go and veer to the sides. So one thing I want to show you is that Andrew Ng reports there is a favorable judgment in the legal world for AI. The link really does go to the previous issues of The Badge, which honestly I recommend. I mean, who am I to recommend? But I read it every week, and it is interesting. And Andrew talks about that there is a new ruling, and the ruling basically says that you guys want to stop AI from learning books, right? But we don't stop AI. Well, we don't stop the kill children, the kids in the school, from learning good books, even though they might become smarter, they might learn something and become competitors, write more books. And no, we don't say it would be terrible. We say competition is good. So, in the same way, we should allow, said the judge, who is the judge? Alsop. He says that's the same, and just as we allow children to learn and read books, we should allow that to ChatGPT. And then he makes a little innuendo that not the stolen books. All right. But of course, my friend found a good counter argument. It's not the same. So that all depends upon what the judge says. You can argue it both ways. That is the most interesting thing. But in here, Andrew Ng also discusses his own course. He discusses what's going on in the world meta and how they invest in brains. Essentially, that's what they invest in. And 28-year-old executive who asked for 14 billion. Okay, and that's where you find out all the story behind that. Maybe Meta was the first to do the open model, but right now it says maybe we need a very smart model, not so much the open model. That is that. And finally, we have a cybersecurity primer. What is that? Well, since I'm writing the book, it's called AI and Security. Then obviously I'm interested in that, and once in a while I get to see links like that. So let's look at this one. And cybersecurity primer says that it's very, very important. I think that's what essentially it says. Also points out that there are many commercial offerings. Well, yes, there are. The major thing is that AI can do lots of wonderful things, and therefore the hacker also can do many wonderful things, and that's the major point. As far as practical outline, I'm going to show people first how to build any specific AI briefly. That's not about building, but if I don't do it, people won't even know what I'm talking about. What fun is there to defend something that you don't know what is it, where is it, and you didn't build it? So I will have to do it. I saw this reaction in the class when you teach people and you start from protection. That's boring and not relevant. So yes, I'm teaching a little bit of how you build it and then how you protect it and how can the hacker attack it. And I think there will be a lot of people who will start hacking once you show them how to do it. That is the last thing that I wanted to show. I see here that you have great conversations, and thank you very much for that. And that's the big plus of us coming all together and talks about this. And thank you very much for answering. And basically, we're done, guys, for today. So if you have any suggestions on what we should do next, so we go here, and we mentioned that we will still be doing it the next week, okay? Which was true, by the way, for the last 103, I think, sessions. So we put the new date, July 4. Look, but it will be July 4. And if there is anything here, then it will go here like suggestions. If not, I will just go into what is new this particular week because I'm absolutely sure that there will be something next week. And in addition, of course, if there is not enough of new things at the new week, then I will go back. I will go back to Llama. One thing I didn't tell you is where does it really run? The previous lab about Llama, and we have one. We have a previous lab about Llama it chose to give you an API. So it was still running Llama, but you didn't run it on your local machine. And that's because, look, you need pretty powerful machine even for inference. So I don't know what they do here. That is one thing I didn't know, but there are lots of things I didn't know. ACP, well, we might go back and really do that. So if we have enough interesting things, we'll say, call it a day for these two subjects. And if not, we'll go back. All right. So everyone, thank you very much. John asks a question. What AI models do you suggest for extracting financial P&L different formats? You know what? So you can write to me. First, write to me, mark at ElephantScale.com, because that really depends upon what you want. If you want to take the data, whether it is a spreadsheet or a database, we have a lab where you can connect AI to the numbers and talk to them. That would be the one approach. But you see, maybe what you look for is understanding of financial documents. So it all really depends upon which specific approach you're taking. I think unless somebody else says something, I would say, well, just write it. Well, I do need more context. That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of like a chat GPT. Give me a little bit more context. I could put it here. I want to get data and store it in the database. So I'm doing it in the sense that it's one of my projects, and it works together with ChatGPT. It suggested this. It said, take the spreadsheet, put it into database, and then I would say just use that to start with. Okay, that will be a good start. Here we are, and talking to your data. Let's find it. SQL maybe? Yes, there you are. Talking to your data in SQL. So I'll give you that. Yes, SQL, but that's not the right guy. 1 second. No, there is a better one. Okay, there is a better one. I don't want to hold your time. I'll give you this one. It will be not bad. Maybe not good enough, but not bad. And I'm giving that to you here. Okay. But of course, talk to ChatGPT, ask exactly that question, and bring it back for discussion. All right, everybody, have a great week and a great weekend and a great year ahead. Thank you. Thank you very much for those emoticons reactions. Thank you.